of electric vehicle charge points in the UK. On top of that, we formed Devil's Kitchen, which is a vegan food plant. Our latest venture is taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, refining it and then turning it into shiny gem quality diamonds. So, you know, when I say that we've got quite a radical portfolio of groups in the company, or companies in the group, you know, that sort of shows it. It's everything from, you know, energy company through to clean tech manufacturing to this place. And people always go, yeah, FGR, how does FGR fit in with everything? Because, you know, it's a football club. They can't really see where the connectivity is in the connection, in the links. But really FGR is where all of those separate elements come together. You know, it's our showcase, because you know, especially in the sporting world, people are beginning to wake up now to the effects of climate change. And you know, from a sports stadium point of view and a team's point of view, you know, it's not just that adverse weather conditions start, you know, postponing matches, cancelling things. It hits their revenue. You know, when it begins to hit the bank balance, people begin to go, oh, hold up, we've got a problem here. But you know, also there's things further afield. When you look at global supply chains and how, you know, prices are increasing because, you know, maybe crops are being affected by global climate change, things like that, which then increase the prices. So people are becoming more aware, more and more are coming to us, you know, to find out more about, you know, all of these relevant issues. So, yeah. A quick bit about the process. How did we do it? How did we become what FIFA call us the greenest football club in the world, which is great. Yeah, and the first step on any sort of sustainability journey, be it for your household, be it for your business, be it for, you know, any charity or organisation that you're working with, is really to work out where your big environmental impacts lie. Because, you know, if you're going out and you're spending all of your time, all of your resource on something, say, you know, plastic straws, but actually plastic straws, the only time you have them in your business is when somebody has one in a carton of drink at lunchtime. And over the other side of the site, you've got, you know, a process that's wasting tons of material or wasting energy to the atmosphere. You know, that's the fundamental place to start, is to work out where your big environmental impacts lie. And that's what we did here at FGR. Yeah, in all of the companies, we sat down. I am at some point going to fall off of this, and I probably will coming onto the site, all the things that we were doing with stuff when we had it. So, you know, we're bringing onto the site energy, products, materials, all of those. We're doing stuff, we're processing stuff, we're cooking stuff. At the end of it, we're producing wastewater from the toilets, wastewater from the kitchens, waste from the kitchens, you know, food waste, packaging waste, all of those. And it's looking at that and it's working out which are the significant things. So you end up with a hierarchy you know, within your business. Say, this is the big environmental impact, smaller, 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 smaller. Once you got that, you know, then it's a case of going through what we call a plan, do, check, act cycle. So the planning bit is looking at your inputs, your outputs, and what happens, and getting a real gauge of where your baseline is, where your situation is, because, you know, you're not going to be able to solve a problem until you know where it is. So once you've done all of that research in the background stuff and you've got a baseline, then you can do the doing bit. And the doing bit is where you put an action plan into place. And this is where you come up with your targets and all of the fancy things that say by the end of the next 12 months we will reduce this amount by this, or we will got rid of this product, or we will replace this with this, and, you know, all of those things. And you can do that by, you know, a number of processes. There's avoiding things, so you can avoid, you know, travel emissions by having telephone conferences or video conferences. You can avoid grid electricity by solar panels. Solar panels over there. You know, there's reducing. You can, you know, cut those things by reducing. So you can look at your energy consumption. You can say, actually, you know, we can start turning things off. We can start lowering the temperature. Putting tinfoil behind radiators and things like that. And then there's completely replacing something. So it's looking for an alternative solution. So it's thinking about, actually, you know, we got a diesel tractor, what can we do? Well, we could have an electric tractor. We could use different things to power our grounds maintenance equipment. So once you've gone through that and you've looked at that and you set your targets, you go back and you check it to make sure everything's working. Then at the end of that cycle, you basically reassess it and you go, well, we've started out with a hierarchy of problems. We've crossed off the top one, we've crossed off the second one. And the problem, well, the nice thing about hierarchies is that, you know, you cross off the top two, then other things just move up and they take your place. So that's where you then look your attention, you know, for the next cycle of things. And so that's basically, you know, what we did at FGR, and we get certified every year. We have independent auditors come in just to check that what we're doing is proper and that we're doing what we say we're doing. And then we get a certificate that says, I say 14,001, well done, brilliant, lovely. So, yeah, I guess the interesting stuff for FGR, the bit that everybody always ends up talking about, is food. You know, did you all like your lunch today? You don't have to say yes, but yeah, you won't be allowed out until you say yes. It's fab, yeah, it's wonderful food, FGR, and you know, it really is what we've become known for, you know, as well as football slightly, but you know, the food is definitely, you know, an important part of the whole story. And when Dale started with the club back in 2010, you know, the club was in financial difficulty. They asked him to come along and to help out. And he said, yeah, you know, a local businessman like football, yeah, I'll help out, but you've got to do things differently. You know, what you're doing now is broken, it's not working properly, we need to make changes. And one of the first things he did was to take red meat off the menu, which at the time caused complete and utter uproar. You know, because people can survive 90 minutes without having a meat pie. It's true, you know, the social media and everything, there was absolute eruptions. But on the other hand, it suddenly stimulated debate. People were talking about it. People were going, hey, you know, let's talk about it. Because agriculture, it's, you know, a fifth of global carbon emissions are down to agriculture and livestock farming. And suddenly, you know, people within the context of football were talking about, hey, what are you eating? You eating hummus? You know, stuff like that, and you know, it was something great because people were taking note, and you know, it got that debate on the agenda, and you know, and FGR taking red meat off the menu was just the first step. So it was a 5-year process to us becoming what, you know, was effectively the first vegan football club in the world. We took red meat off, we took chicken off, we took fish off. Finally, 2015, dairy came off the menu.
Are we sure there isn't like a football club in India that's vegan?
What started as a single decision with let's just take red meat off the menu has turned into a whole new company, because you know, when we took the burgers off the menu, we had to replace it with something, so we started to make our own vegetable burgers, and the knock-on effect was that it turned into a whole company for us. And so now we're actually producing just down the road in Woodchester, a company called Devil's Kitchen, which is producing vegan produce for the mass market. So for, you know, wholesale for schools, for hospitals, you know, anywhere that needs a lot of burgers. The thing that we produce is allergen free. It meets every dairy, every dietary requirement, every religious requirement as possible. So, you know, for a mass caterer, it's great. They slap it on the plate, anyone can eat it. So, you know, there's a great opportunity there for us, which most companies, if they'd made that decision, probably would have put red meat back on the menu after 2 weeks, because, you know, they would have gone, look, it's uproar, social media, nobody's happy, get the menu sorted. But we stuck with our convictions, and, you know, for us, it's definitely helped, you know, as part of that journey, and it's, you know, it's been a significant, you know, product for us, really, I guess, as we've gone on. But food wasn't the only part of it. You know, at the same time, there are other changes that are being made around the site. So thinking about energy, you know, we put in solar panels. We've got, you know, the solar panels down at the front are really just sort of a show. The south stand there, the complete top of that, believe it or not, is covered in solar panels, but you can't see it, so that's why we put this array at the front of the site, so that when people turn up and they drive through or walk through the gates and they see that, they suddenly, you know, begin to realise what we're about as a club, that we're a little bit different, that we do things differently, we have a different attitude. And about a fifth of our energy on this site over the course of the year now comes from our solar panels, which, you know, is a significant amount. On top of that, there's other things that we've done. So, bear with me a second. I need to just have a look at the cards, because otherwise, yeah, is it coming on 2 hours before somebody comes in the morning, or an hour and a half? If you can cut back half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, it's 5 hours a week over the course of a year, potentially with your aircon, your heating system. You can save sort of 250 hours worth of energy in a building, you know, in a workplace. So it's always worth thinking about. Also, you know, when we've replaced stuff, it's no longer a case of, oh, we had that, let's just get the same thing in again. It's always worth having a think about what you're replacing materials with. So, you know, LED bulbs against traditional fluorescent bulbs. An LED bulb, yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, but on the other hand, it lasts longer, so you've not got as many maintenance requirements. You're not going to have to go out and buy them so frequently, and it uses less energy. So again, you know, whilst it's in operation, you're saving cash there as well. Water. So water's quite unique for us. The pitch itself captures the rain that falls on it. There's a whole load of channels underneath there that then feed it into the tank that's down at the end of the pitch, and then we feed it back on to irrigate, because, you know, as a premium playing surface, it's something that requires a lot of water. Where this year, it's a nightmare getting water to this site, because we're at the top of a hill, we're surrounded by a housing estate, and on top of that, the pressure is fairly low, so we have to try and maximise the amount of water we're capturing. This year we've got a special new thing that we've introduced, where we're taking the away fan toilets, which have just been delivered. We're taking all of the effluent from that, we're cleaning it up, and then we're going to be turning it into a compost and also putting the water back onto the pitch. So again, it's a way of us looking at ways of minimising our environmental impact by looking at technological solutions for stuff. So we talked about water, we talked about energy. What else? Oh, the pitch, it's organic. It's an organic pitch. No chemicals on that, and the same for the whole site. We plant the site with wildflowers that help the pollinators, so again, it's going back to that whole link with agriculture to make sure that we're supporting nature in every way possible. Our mowing regimes take into consideration when we've got birds nesting, when we've got insects around, that we don't hamper their progress with the mowing regime that we use on the site. We leave wildlife corridors because we have badgers and things that roam across the pitch and across the site, and slow worms. We've also got bug boxes, and behind the players block that's over in that corner, we've also got beehive. So again, it's just looking at ways that you can support the local biosystem. Then we've got, what else we got? Kit. So kit's important, not just the kit for the team, but also, we sell a lot of kit in the shop. So you're all aware that most football kit is made of man-made fibres. Microplastics end up being washed out in the washing machine, end up in the sea. It causes a problem. What can we do about that? So here, what we've been doing is working with our kit suppliers ways to potentially cut back on that, but still keep a fabric that's optimised for playing performance. So we started out using a mixture of man-made fibre and bamboo charcoal, and then last year we went to recycled coffee grounds. So again, it's thinking about what we can do to minimise the impacts, and it also ties in with, you see the banner we've got there and around the rest of the site for Sea Shepherd, who are our main charity sponsor at FGR, and they're Guardians of the Ocean. So it's important for us to try and minimise, from end-to-end process, how we reduce the amount of plastics and things that we're putting into the water courses and then finally end up in the oceans. And again, with washing, it's always thinking about how you minimise that with your temperatures in the materials that you're washing your kit with.